Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Tina. So we're here for another episode of the Fabulous Flowers series. So what we're going to do today is kind of make wallet pouch type things, you know, to kind of incorporate tags and things like that, or to kind of give as little gifts for people, or, you know, to kind of keep little bits and pieces in, or, you know, anything like that really. So basically I've got two sheets here from my Fabulous Flowers digi kit, and literally I've printed them out. So these are the background papers. I've got this one here which is kind of in the blues, and it's been printed on ivory cardstock, and then I've got this one here which is obviously kind of in the multicolours, and it's just been printed onto white cardstock. They're both printed on just 160 GSM card, so it's kind of thinnish card. So if we start with the blue one, so basically what I thought we could do is make a kind of policy envelope style you know, pouch. So I'm just going to literally fold it here. You know, I've not cut the A4 sheet down or anything. We're just going to kind of fold it in, and then take the other side and fold that in, and we're going to make sure it kind of overlaps slightly so that we've got kind of a piece to glue it down to. We're just going to, you know, fold that down like that, and then what we want to do is have a flap at the bottom. So we're just going to cut a small triangle here and a small triangle the other side. You could have there used you know, the triangle on the other side like we do with tags, but you know, it's not kind of essential. Now what I try and do is kind of do it a bit curved. When I cut the flaps, I try and do them a bit curved, so the actual middle is kind of up slightly, because you're not going to actually see those because your flap's going to be folded past it. So we literally cut those like that, and then we're just going to fold our flap over like that, and hope that it's kind of straightish. I mean, you know, again, like all these things, you know, we're paper crafting. We're not kind of a, you know, a factory kind of manufacturing things that are identical and kind of, you know, machine perfect. So you know, it's as good as kind of you can get it really. So we've got that like that. I'll probably do it that way around. And then obviously we want to do the same for the top, but the top we want to make obviously a bigger flap because it's going to fold over, and then we're going to have our kind of string coming down as the policy closure on here. So you need to kind of work out roughly how far down you want your flap. Now obviously this is quite a wide-ish you know, policy envelope, so I think probably about here looks good to me. So for this one, because it's obviously going to be much more noticeable, I am actually going to use my triangle corner piece to get it, you know, roughly measured up so it's kind of pretty much the same. And then exactly as we did kind of for the bottom piece, you're going to cut these away. So obviously these are going to be visible, so you need to be slightly more careful. And you want to kind of roughly get this one kind of roughly the same. Now the odds are I'm not going to, especially because I'm filming, so I probably have to kind of fiddle about a little bit. Yep, they're kind of miles out now. You know, it's kind of just absolutely sod's law, isn't it, when you're filming? It's never going to go quite to plan, quite as you hope. So I'll just kind of round this a little bit off so it looks a little bit better. There we go. So hopefully they're kind of a similar size now, like that. And then you're going to just fold your flap over. Oops. So as you kind of gauge roughly where you want that, like that. Now for this, you're going to have a circle down here and a circle up here to wind your string around. So I haven't got my circle punch with me, unfortunately. It is downstairs. So I'm just going to have to freestyle a circle, which probably is not ideal. So let me just take some card here. I'm going to cut them together so as I get kind of two circles approximately the same size. Like that. Okay. Okay. Put those two out of the way. Get rid of my rubbish. Now, they might be a little bit too big. They're not too bad. So what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of pop this on here, and we're going to do this one before we glue it down, because obviously it's just going to be easier for us to actually get in before it's glued down. So what I'm going to do is I'll just rummage in my tin. Oh, got some brads in here, and now for the life of me I cannot find them anywhere in the entire tin. And you know, as you know, it's only a tiny tin, so just how far they can actually disappear in that tin is anybody's guess. But oh, come on, this is not a good start. Okay, so I've got a brad here, like that. So, and what we probably want to do is have our string poking through underneath this circle. So you can thread your brad kind of through the string and then poke the string through the hole. This is where it gets a little bit fiddly. Take the string through the hole and then the brad as well, if that makes sense. So you've got the string and the brad going through to the other side. And then obviously close off your brad as you would normally, like that. And then depending on how far over that is, I don't think that's actually going to kind of be glued down. So what you might want to do is just pop something on the back of there to kind of glue that on. So I'm just going to take a piece of card and glue that over here, just so it's kind of nicely glued. You don't have to do this. You know, this is not kind of essential at all. I just kind of think it maybe helps hold the string, you know, kind of make sure the string stays attached and doesn't come out at all. So literally glue that down. Doesn't, you know, matter if the glue is oozing out a bit, because obviously this is on the underneath side. Nobody is going to see this part. So like that. Okay. And then what you want to do is just glue your edges together like that. Just be careful that they don't kind of get glued to the, you know, on the inside of the bag itself, or the envelope itself. So like that. And then what we're going to do is just glue down our tucking flap. So let me just put another glue stick into the glue gun because it may just kind of run out part way through. Okay, so just literally glue that down like that. Okay, so let me check I'm still filming and that I'm in frame. And then you just want to take your top flap and exactly the same. So let me check that I can find another brad. Well, actually, sorry, not exactly the same, because, you know, I mean, I'm sure most of you have probably made policy envelopes before, and I'm probably kind of, you know, showing you how to suck eggs here, which, you know, I just had a brad and then my hand caught on something and it kind of dropped back into the tin, and now I can't see it for the life of me. Here it is. Right, so you're going to just pop this one on here, and this time you are not going to obviously thread the string through, because this is the one it's going to wind around to close the envelope off. So this time around you just want to literally attach your brad like so. Just twist that round. I just like to always press it down from the back as well. So that's that. And then what it will do is just literally wind around underneath your circles like that. Okay, now obviously, you know, this is working with flowers, so, and obviously we have flower you know, paper or cardstock here anyway, so, you know, that kind of is pretty good. I have got the flowers that we made in the last episode, and I wonder whether one of those might look quite nice on here. Or again, what we could do is use some of the flowers from the kit, which obviously coordinate nicely, you know, with the background paper. So for instance, we've got these ones here. I've got a label. So the label itself we can obviously pop on the front, which looks really pretty. So I'm just going to kind of ink some of this up. So let me just pull this card in that we can just kind of ink things against. And as I always say, it's not that I'm protecting my work surface, you know, because clearly it's very dirty and doesn't really need protecting. I'm protecting it as in I don't want any ink coming off on, you know, everything that I put down. I don't want blotches of ink. So that's why I'm doing this. I'm not actually protecting my work surface as such. So we're just literally just inking around this a bit, you know, to hopefully make this look kind of nice and vintage. I will just open this out so that we can just get under here, otherwise we've got the shape of the flap there where we've kind of inked around it. And I'll just ink a bit inside so it's all looking nice and vintage and yummy. So we'll just go around with the string again like that. So here, obviously we've got our label, which, you know, just fabulous because obviously it goes perfectly with the kit. We could obviously finish that off by having a flower to the side. I've got some lace here, which we could kind of pop across as well. Maybe not that lace. Let me just have a look in my little bag of laces that I've got here, kind of sat beside me. So just find the kind of crocheted lace that I got from the Wish app. I want to just hunt that down, just because it's just a slightly bit wider, and I just think would look quite good on this. And it is in this bag somewhere, but now I just can't see it at all. And this is only a tiny weeny bag, but it's absolutely jam-packed full of laces. So here we go. Right. I just think this one will look really, really good with this. So there we go. And then we've got our lace trim. So we could have the lace trim at the bottom, we could have it at the top, we could have it down the side, or kind of midway is actually quite nice for a change. I never really kind of put things midway like that, so maybe that might be quite nice for a change. So just going to kind of ink that up a little bit. It's been inked a bit anyway, just ink it up a bit more. So just pop that on like that. So again, I'm just going to do this with the hot glue, but just like run that across like that. And then we're going to pop our label, our label on there. And again, just for speed, I'm going to hot glue this label on, because obviously, you know, I can be nice and quick then, which, you know, is what it's all about, isn't it, when you're doing a video. So just going to pop that on like that. And, you know, obviously that coordinates perfectly because it's part of, you know, part of the same kit. So there we go. And then we could have a bit of kind of pearly trim or anything to kind of go across there. We could cut a strip. So we just cut. That. Oops. So I mean, that just, to me, that just kind of finishes it off slightly more. So again, I'm just going to hot glue it down because, you know, it's nice and quick. So just get our string of pearl thread and we just literally pop that on like that. And then we're just going to cut it here. The edge. We'll just cut that one off as well. Oh, come on, come on, come on. I'm just going to trim that down slightly on the edge as well. Okay. So, I mean, that looks really pretty now. Whoops. And then what we could do is obviously incorporate, you know, a flower on here somewhere as well. So here's another flower that's kind of partially made, and I don't think we've covered these ones yet. So hopefully that's another video that will be coming up. So let me check them in frame. Yep, still filming. So these will be another type that we'll be, you know, be able to kind of do during this series. And we can just pop that on because it's really pretty, very delicate, you know, looks really nice. So, oh, sorry, my desk is so messy that everything's literally just dropping as I kind of move. Everything's just being knocked over. And again, we can obviously finish that with just a pearly kind of centre, which matches then, you know, the trim really quite nicely. We could put a little piece of lace kind of underneath that. Although actually now I'm looking, the lace is possibly a little bit kind of heavy for the really quite delicate organza kind of flower. We could pop some lace around behind it. No, I'm just going to pop it on like that. Now, I've not even stuck this onto a base, which normally I kind of do. But again, we're just going to go for this, and we're just going to stick it on literally as is. Like that. There we go. And just pop that little pearly centre just there, like that, in the centre of there. Gorgeous. I mean, I think that is just so pretty, and obviously, you know, you can have that kind of with tags in, give this as a little gift to somebody, you know, absolutely gorgeous. And obviously you can always put a flower on the back as well. So I'm just kind of looking here at the flowers that I've already kind of fussy cut out, so that you're not kind of watching me now fussy cutting and things, you know, again. So I've got a whole bunch of them, not all of them, would you believe, but yeah, a whole bunch. So I've got all of them here and a whole load there. But we can also pop, you know, a little flower kind of on this side as well, just to kind of pretty it up really, kind of on the reverse. So just kind of make sure that I've got the right ones. I like for the double, you know, the two flowers together. So again, I'll just ink those up so they look nice and grungy, and then we'll just literally glue them on. So again, I mean, just another, you have to excuse this because I have printed it obviously on the back. This was obviously while I was playing around creating the Fabulous Flowers kit. I obviously had to print and print so many times to get it quite right. So obviously, rather than waste my card so much, I did kind of double it up. So that's one style of kind of you know, wallet or kind of pouch, you know, incorporating flowers. I think that looks gorgeous. So we'll just very quickly kind of do one more. So again, I've just got a piece of the patterned paper from the paper pack, and all we're going to do is literally make a kind of purse here. So we're going to kind of do, you know, a purse style envelope or pocket. So what I'm doing, I'm just going to fold the card over. I don't know what you would describe that as. It's kind of more than a third. Yeah, it's more than a third. So, I mean, basically what you're wanting to have is it exactly like a kind of conventional women's purse where this flap will go over here. So completely up to you how large you want your flap when it comes down. So that's what you're looking to do. So, you know, for me, this looks like a good size. And then obviously you're going to then fold your flap over like that. Now, to give us a little bit more kind of stuffing space, what we're going to do is we're going to just make some little kind of, I guess, like gussets down the side. So we're going to do that literally here, and then down here as well. So we're just literally cutting triangles. I don't know quite where to hold this now. We're just literally cutting a couple of triangles. So as with the policy envelope, we can kind of fold in what's going to be our kind of seams. So what we're going to do is open it out now, and fold in here one, oops, like that, and then fold in the other one like that. Just check that they're kind of roughly aligned. I mean, again, it doesn't have to be perfect, you know, because you want it a little bit kind of roomy in here. And then again on the other side, just going to fold it up like that. Oops. Like that. And then again on the back, fold it in. That's it. Let me just check that I'm filming and that I'm in frame. Yep. Okay, and then when you fold it over, you've got your kind of seams down the side. So all you want to do now is obviously glue them down. So literally run your glue down the flap there, press them together. It's got a bit of glue seeping out. There we go. And then on the other side, literally exactly the same again. Run your glue, and you just want to then press them together. So as you've got your kind of seams there, and that's what's going to give you, you know, your room inside to kind of pop things inside like that. So obviously now you've got your flap is wider than your purse, if you see what I mean. So all you're going to do is literally trim that off like that. So we just trim it down, oops, like that. Okay, now it's up to you at this point whether you want to kind of shape this in like a kind of tapered effect going on here, or whether you want it square kind of with the rest. Completely and utterly up to you, you know. I'm going to kind of leave mine probably like that, and then I'm just going to round the corners just with my corner rounder like that. And then again, what I'm going to do is just very quickly, let me just pop this lace away, very quickly ink this up. So we'll just ink all around it, you know, just very quickly. We're just kind of doing it so it looks nice and vintage, like that. Have to say, really love this paper, how this turned out. It's kind of like this really fun collage of these flowers, and yeah, just looks really pretty. So really like it. Okay. And then just all around. That's it. I'm just going to ink slightly inside the flap, just so that when you open it, it's not kind of this stark white. Again, I mean, that's just personal preference, really. You know, it's not necessary. It's just that this had not been printed on coffee dye cardstock, so, and it wasn't the ivory cardstock that I normally use. It was onto white, so for me, it was just looking a little bit bright. And then we're just going to ink the flap like that. Okay. So now it just looks a little bit more kind of vintage, which, you know, is obviously kind of what we want. So let me just check the time. Okay, doing okay. So now we can obviously take some lace, and again, you know, this is all kind of personal preference, how you want to kind of decorate this. You might decide that actually you like it just completely plain, you know, and neutral like this, and, you know, that would be fine. It looks perfectly nice as it is. You may want to have something as a closure So I'm just rummaging through my stash here, just seeing whether I've got anything suitable to kind of use. I can't actually find anything right now, so bear with me for 2 minutes. I can't really find anything that I had in mind. So I've obviously run out of those particular printouts. Just double check. No, I can't actually find anything. So what we could do is actually use a flower as the closure itself. So I have done this once before in a journal and it worked really well. So hopefully it will work just as well here. So I can use one of these flowers that we obviously made during a previous video. As you can see, my flap's now kind of obviously a bit too long because it's actually kind of bumping into the flower. So what I need to do is cut my flap down slightly. So we'll go for this and see whether that's kind of enough. I might need to cut it down more, but we'll just kind of see whether that's enough. I'll take that there. Just needs to come down just a fraction more, literally, you know, a few millimeters. So just cut across like that. Okay, so now I'll just have to round my corners obviously again. Better, like that. Okay, and we're going to have this as our closure. So again, another way of using flowers in your work. And then for the string to kind of go through, as we did on the policy envelope, you're wanting to attach some string here. So completely up to you. You can obviously, you know, pop a kind of circle on there. So I'm just having a look on my desk, and obviously I have got the these that we used from the petals of the flowers, which would be kind of ideal because obviously they match our flower that we're then using as the closure. So I'll just trim that down slightly. Oops, there we go. I'm just going to ink that up so that's kind of nice and vintage looking. Like that. And then we want to literally just pop that on there. So if I just pop a hole through there like that. And then we're just going to thread through just as we did in our last one. So let's hope that I can find a brad, because I didn't have much luck last time. Right, I have got a brad. So we're going to take our string and we're going to pop the string through the hole. Well, hopefully we're going to pop the string through the hole. So like that. Pull it through, and then obviously we're going to get our circle, pop our circle over. So I'm just going to pop the brad through the circle first, just because that makes it slightly easier to see what I'm doing. And then we're going to pop the brad through the hole on the underneath. So, and again here, completely up to you really, if you want to finish this off with something on the back. So you may want to kind of glue something on there. So again, what we could use is one of the flowers that we've kind of used previously, or what we could do is use one of the flowers from the kit which matches this paper, because then that kind of makes it look really pretty. It's matching the paper, and again, it's another way to kind of use your flowers in your work. So that one looks good, that matches really nicely, so I'm just going to ink that up like that. And then all we're going to do is literally glue that onto there, and it's just literally, it's holding the string in place, and obviously, you know, looks quite pretty as well. So again, we're just going to hot glue that down just for speed, and we're just going to pop that over like that. Oops, I've now got glue oozing out like that. Okay. So that looks pretty and just finishes that off, you know, a bit nicer. And we can obviously now cut this little end of string away so that actually that's now not visible at all. So, you know, it's just a nice way to kind of finish that off. And then we're going to pop our flower on, just on here. So all we're going to do is literally glue the flower in the center like that. Like that. Press it down like that. Now I'm not going to wrap the string around there just yet, because obviously it's still wet and I don't want to kind of stick the string onto the flower. So literally just to finish this off, we could just use a little bit of kind of you know, pretty lace trim or something like that. So again, I've got some crocheted lace here. This is obviously the thinner crochet lace, the one that Laura had gifted me, which, you know, just maybe complements this quite nicely. So just have a look. That to me looks really pretty on the kind of edge of the flat rather than the top. So I'm just going to ink it up because, you know, again, that just makes it look a little bit more vintage and ties it in a bit better. So we just ink that like that. Move our string completely out of the way. And then we're just going to run down literally a bit of glue down here. So just going to run the glue straight along the edge, and we'll just put a little bit kind of above that as well. So hopefully it's going to kind of glue the trim right the way, you know, top and bottom, if that makes sense. There we go. Okay, looks pretty now. So we're just going to cut this off like that. Pop the lace out of the way. Pull our string back round to the bottom. And then, as you can see, we now have exactly the same concept as the policy envelope that we just made, except it's wound around the flower. In fact, you could just wind it right around the flower and not even go back up to the one above. So we'll just kind of leave it like that. So again, another kind of way to use your flowers in your work. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous gift for somebody, I think. You know, really looks pretty. And then you could finish it off even again using another one of those labels, exactly as we used on the policy envelope. You could put on the other side, which might look quite pretty. So we just literally ink that up. Oops, just rub that in a bit. There we go. And you can just glue that down again, I will just use the hot glue because, you know, for speed. So just glue that onto there, like that. So, I mean, if it was, you know, for somebody's birthday or something, you know, or even Happy Mail or something, you could just gift kind of some tags to somebody, pop their little, you know, message on here. Super pretty, really quick and easy to do. You know, gorgeous. I know that, you know, I would love something like this. It's, you know, to receive it in the post, I think is really, really, really pretty. So I'm just having a look through my tin again, because I did have another flower that was kind of ready cut that I just thought maybe would go. Actually, it doesn't go. Let me just grab my bag back, my little packet of flowers that I've kind of ready cut, because I just thought, do we need another one anywhere? You know, can never have too many flowers, can you? So we just have a look and see if we've got one that just kind of, you know, fits the bill. So we could have that there. So just again ink that up. You could just have that just literally to the side. You know, I'm not saying it necessarily kind of brings an awful lot, but it just kind of makes it slightly more interesting rather than, you know, completely flat. It's got a bit of kind of extra dimension to it there. So, you know, for me, that just makes it slightly more pleasing to the eye and slightly more interesting to kind of look at. So obviously that's that. So, I mean, I think another just really cute way to use your flowers in your work, you know, quite quick, quite easy, and make really nice kind of gift ideas and things like that for people. So, you know, I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial and this kind of episode of the Fabulous Flowers series. You know, I think they're super cute, and I hope that you give some a try and have fun. So thanks very much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Thanks a lot then. Bye.